All right, welcome to deck tech number 2 of the monocolored militia madness matchup. Ims. I have Nick Cage. I know he's called something else,
Spider-Man Noir.
but it's Nick Cage. I'll be real with you. I think there might be better commanders. Mono black is just like a thing in our format that can do whatever. Mono black aggro exists. Mono black midrange exists. Mono black control exists. I don't think mono black combo exists. But apart from that, you can do whatever you want. So my commander's a 5-mana 4/4 with menace that whenever a creature you control attacks alone, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then surveil X, or X is the number of counters on it. It's just a mid-range threat that makes stuff. Oh, he's gone.
It's like a really weird version of Connive almost.
Yes, that scales to infinity. But it's Nick Cage. He'll be over here. So my main deck is mono black aggro. That's what I present myself to be in game 1. So I have mono black aggro classics, Vampire Lacerator and Carnophage. These cards are fun. Mono black aggro from like 1984 in these. So all of these are the same card. They are 1-mana 0/1s that you can pay black up to twice per turn to give it +1/+0. The reason these are in here, there are a couple of like buffs in my deck that I want targets for, like desperately on turn 1, and these are not good enough. They just don't do anything with those. Plus, I just needed more 1-drops that weren't like embarrassing. And these are all pretty okay with Spider-Man Noir in mid-range matchups where you have to do that. So those are some more 1-drops. I'll put those over there so they can be with our friends. And then I have like Haunt of the Dead Marshes. This is an interesting card. It is a much more of a mid-range card that keeps on coming back if you control a legendary creature. Haha. So it's pretty decent in this format. But it transitions... It's a main deck card that allows us to transition into something beautiful in games 2 and 3. You'll see when we get to my sideboard. Akiba Reckoner Raid. This is just like a mono black aggro staple. Drains them for 2 and then turns into a 2/2 menace. That's all the other side does. I believe it gives vehicles menace, but I don't have any vehicles. I'm on 2... Get out of here. I'm on 2 shadow cards. That are just, again, same with Spider-Man Noir. Odds are Shadow in this format is unblockable. I don't think I've ever been in a situation playing this format where I attack with my Dothi Slayer and my opponent said the words block. It just never happens. And you get into situations where they just accumulate counters off of Spider-Man Noir, and this is how you kill people. They also stay in relevant. This is a double black card in its casting cost. Remember that? And then we just have like some powerful 2-mana flyers. 2-mana 2/1 can't block. This is a 2-mana 2/2 that makes you lose 2. We're pretty okay losing life because we're going to be the one on the gas pedal, so we don't really care. This is one of those pump things, but you pay life for it. But it starts as a 1/1. This is a Carnophage that flies. And this is just a 2-mana 2/1 that if it ever becomes the target of anything, it dies. But these are just more aggressive fodder to fight for the board early and just attack, and kill them. And then we have 2 just kind of generic cards. Well, 1 generic card in Accursed Marauder. This card is just a really, really good black card. I'll be real with you. I think most black decks should consider playing this somewhere between their main and sideboard. I think every black deck in the channel has played this somewhere between their main and sideboard. Oh, Torwaki probably didn't.
Oh, it didn't, no.
Yeah. I don't think Carmella should have.
I don't think Gut did either.
That's fair. And then I have a Blood Toll Harpy because I love Theros block. But yeah, this is just a 3-mana 2/1 that makes each player lose life. Reach.
I feel like there's literally a 2/2 that does the exact same thing.
I don't think...
Like Sky March Bloodletter, I want to say?
Yes, there is. And you gain a life. I couldn't find it. So I have this Blood Toll Harpy. But it's fine. One of the buffs we were talking about earlier is the Spinal Graft. Just being able to give 2 mana +2/+3 to something is very, very powerful. It has the downside if they point a removal spell at it to kill it, but I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I don't care. Tywin Strikes, this deals 4 damage to the target opponent.
Yep.
And Glaze Fiend and Pactal Terror and Refurbished Familiar. This is kind of the reward for playing as many artifacts as we're playing. Your nut draws that kill people always involve a turn 2 Glaze Fiend. A turn 1 Vampire Lacerator, turn 2 this. I don't know, turn 3 Sneeze, and then they take 7. Like, it's just... Like, it's... I've had games where, like, you then play a Vault of Whispers on turn 3, followed by a Blood Fountain, followed by this, followed by, like, another thing, and then, like, just take so much damage. Also, this card's nuts.
Yeah.
This card's funny. And then we're on just a bunch of artifacts. So Bone Splitter is another one of those buffs that is really, really good on turn 2 if you can land one of those flyers on turn 1. But it's just pretty decent. Also, your commander has Menace, and that's not nothing. We have a Blood Fountain, because it's just one of the best 1-mana artifacts in the format, especially if you have creatures in your deck. We have Retrofitted Transmigrant, which, again, just another artifact that you can feel pretty okay sacrificing. Also comes up with neat synergies with Spider-Man Noir, because you can bring this back for 4, untap, play Spider-Man Noir, attack, and then Surveil for 3. And attack them with a 4/4. So, neat synergy there. Nihil Spellbomb is just decent at being able to generate card advantage. Spoiler alert, we're going to get into we're on the Ichor Wellspring and the black artifact sacrifice package. But we're in mono black, so our options are limited, in that we don't get a second color of things to sacrifice. We have a Vault Scourge. This holds both of your buffs really, really well. And it also, like, enables really busted Glaze Fiend turn 3s. And it also, like, if you put a Bone Spire on this, it can really help, or your Spider-Man Noir on this, it really, really helps recruit that life back that you're losing because you're an aggro deck. I have a Grim Bubble. It's possible I shouldn't be playing this card, but it's just like cheap interaction that you can feel free, okay, sacrificing to one of your 2-mana draw cards or something along those lines, just because it did a thing, like turn 1 kill a dork or whatever, or you know, it's fine, but I think it's on the lower end of. We have a Ginger Brute. This guy kills people. We have an Ichor Wellspring. This card draws cards. Great to sacrifice. We have a Tithing Blade, pretty standard. We have a Wreckage Wickerfolk. This card is a lot better than I think people are giving it credit for in the current format. 2-mana 1/3 is just a really decent stat line in our format, especially against like more streamlined aggro decks like red decks. Because like red is definitely the best. Like if you're going to build a monocolored aggro deck and all you cared about is like attacking and burning people out, you're going to play red. But this is just like, this is what the black aggro brings to it, is a little bit of versatility and a little bit of reach that you can transfer into playing a longer mid-range game. Also, like, you just surveil 2, you put 2 cards you don't want, and then you sacrifice this to draw 2 cards. Like, it's just fine as it is. Mephitic Draft and Limbus, yeah, pretty staple. Everybody knew these were coming. They're here. You know,
they draw cards.
They draw cards. Yeah. Night's Whisper. I wanted a 5th draw card effect. You know, a 5th draw 2, because I do have draw effects like Mephitic Draft Cats and you know that kind of stuff. But I only get to play 2 removal spells. Well, technically 2 removal spells. I have a little bit more because Tithing Blade kind of counts, Grim Bauble kind of counts, Accursed Marauder kind of counts. But yeah, I only get to play 2 in the main deck. We'll see the side deck for more information, but Defile is one of those cards that, like, because I'm mono black, I get to play, and it's so sick. People think a 10/10 safe. It's not safe. And then Troll. This is a troll. He kills people. It also does this really well.
Super Menace.
Yes. 4, 8, 11, 13. 13. Yay. Technically 14. But, you know, whatever. This is why I'm on Troll. It's just being able to get this and, like, put in a Curse of Water back. You know, it's decent in those mid-range games. I'm on 3 cycling lands. Not 2, 3. There you go. And then I'm on the Vault of Whispers. This is just because I want an extra artifact for Refurbished Familiar or Pact Altair or Glaze Fiend.
Okay.
Now the interesting part of my deck is the sideboard. We're actually going to start with this card. So this card's my sideboard. It's Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Yep, Gary. Long-time Pauper players will recognize the, like, miserable days of, like, mono black control where people were playing, like, Gurmag Angler and this. You could just never beat them. I want to go back to those days. Simpler days. So much fun. But this is our sideboard strategy. Up until now, sideboards have been places where we can bring in hate to make certain matchups better. That's not what I'm doing. I mean, I can kind of do that sometimes, but really I'm sideboarding into a different deck because my opponent is bringing in anti-aggro cards like Weather the Storm or, you know, certain removal spells that just Gary don't care about. So I'm going to put Gary over here. He's going to be my spirit animal. But keep this in mind as I go through the rest of my sideboard. So I have just the 2 catch-all removal spells. And I'll show you what comes out. But a lot of, like, your aggro package that does nothing. You know, your Vampire Lacerators and your Pit Imps come out. They don't do anything. You leave basically all of your artifact package intact because Pact Altair becomes how you win games. But, like, the Spinal Graft comes out. There are certain situations where you want to cut the Bone Splitter. It's just not very good. And then you bring in removal spells like this. I'm scared to death of Boggles. So I have 5 Edicts. That matchup scares the hell out of me. But the other thing is that, like, these are also just, well, these, not these. These are just very efficient removal spells on curve against, like, the aggro decks on the play. Like, you play a land and pass, they play a 1-drop and pass, and you play a land and then you get their 1-drop, and then, like, you establish the board, momentum of the game. But they also have the side benefit of being really, really good against Boggles. But you need this because neither one of your plans is good against them. Your aggro plan, they outrace you and then slam an Armadillo Cloak and you die. And then your mid-range plan, you just can't kill any of their creatures. So that's what this is for. I also just wanted answers against pesky enchantments. You know, Journey to Nowhere, those types of things. More mono black cards and Tendrils of Corruption. This is a card that's awesome. It's a Defile, except it deals damage and then you gain life. We have an Arms Vidar, which is like a board wipe. Actually, it is a board wipe. It's not like a board wipe. That's just what it is. That's what it does. I'm going to get to that card over in a second. It's my baby. We do have a sideboard card in Fairy Macabre, but this has 2 Black Devotion in it, so we cast this. But we do bring it in against, like, the graveyard decks. It's like the one sideboard slot that I can actually fill with a sideboard card. And I didn't want to play Tormod's Crypt because I already have Nihil Spellbomb in my main board. So it's not like that big of a deal. But, yeah, this has Black Devotion. Anybody remember Quambage Witches? You remember this card? I don't have the cool sexy art because I'm not a pervert. But that art is weird, dude. It's so weird. But this is just a pinger, a black pinger. It's really good against elves. It's also okay against like Delver or things of that nature. And you can offset the life loss with Tendrils of Corruption and Grey Merchant of Asphodel and Vampire Sovereign. This is another like just mid-range threat that helps take over games. run a Thorn of the Black Rose to really complete the mid-range package. Not that we're bringing in a lot of creatures. We're actually pretty creature light. Game 2 and 3, depending on how we sideboard. Because this is a game where, like, a lot of times people sideboard game 2 and leave the same configuration game 3 and don't even look. I might do that against Morgan just to save time. But if you're ever in a tournament, you should pretend like you're sideboarding a lot, even in game 2 going into game 3. Because you need your opponent to, like, you gain a lot of advantage between your opponent being like, are they sideboarding back into the aggro package, expecting me to now sideboard in against the mid-range stuff, or are they just keeping the mid-range stuff or whatever? I probably won't play these mind games with Morgan just because I'm nice, but you should. You gain a lot of value. And then the last card I thought I would talk about is Consume Spirit. This card is great. You can only spend black mana on X, but it's X 1 to black. Deal X damage, gain X life. Any target. Chuck him at the face. But you can also just like kill a big dude and gain a bunch of life. It helps swing tempo. Yeah, that's it for Mono Black Nicolas Cage. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out the video on Friday.